When the south wind knows my heart? I've been an orphan my entire life. That's what I thought, anyway. The irony wasn't lost on me that everyone said Lily Montgomery and I looked like sisters. Same dark hair, same heart-shaped face, same stubborn chin that lifted when we were determined about something. The resemblance was uncanny enough that professors did double takes in the hallway. But where Lily glided through campus in designer clothes with her Herms bag and entitled smile, I hurried between classes and thrift store finds, clutching my scholarship papers like a lifeline. Until the day her billionaire father and pop star mother told me something that would shatter everything I thought I knew about myself. "Emma, you and Lily could be twins." My roommate Sarah laughed as she unpacked her designer luggage. "Seriously, it's like looking in a funhouse mirror." I glanced up from organizing my meager belongings, 3 changes of clothes, some books, and a framed photo of Grandma Rose. Lily Montgomery sat perched on her bed like a queen holding court, surrounded by shopping bags from stores I'd only seen in magazines. "Don't be ridiculous," our other roommate Jessica chimed in, not bothering to lower her voice. "Look at their circumstances. There's obviously no comparison." The casual cruelty stung, but I'd learned to let comments like that roll off me. I focused on folding my one good sweater, a soft blue cardigan Grandma had saved for months to buy me. "Here." Lily's voice cut through my thoughts. She held out 3 Chanel lipsticks with the practiced generosity of someone accustomed to buying people's affection. "Welcome gifts." Sarah and Jessica practically pounced on them, gushing their thanks. I hesitated. "Take it," Lily pressed, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. "You probably haven't," she caught herself, but I heard the unfinished thought. "Haven't used expensive makeup before. Haven't had nice things." "Thank you," I said simply, accepting the lipstick. Her fingers were warm against mine for just a moment, and something flickered in her expression. Confusion? Recognition? But it was gone so quickly, I might have imagined it. Later, when she thought I wasn't looking, I caught her watching me in the mirror as I braided my hair. Her brow was furrowed, like she was trying to solve a puzzle that didn't have enough pieces. Lily Montgomery was everything. I wasn't wealthy, connected, confident in a way that came from never having to worry about anything. She name-dropped celebrity friends over breakfast and casually mentioned family vacations to places I'd only seen in movies. But she had one secret she guarded fiercely: she couldn't sing. I discovered this by accident. Coming back from the library late one night, I heard her in the shower, humming what sounded like her mother's latest hit. Only it was so off-key it took me a moment to recognize the melody. For someone whose mother was Stella Rose, the Stella Rose, whose voice had defined a generation, this had to be devastating. I felt an unexpected pang of sympathy. Music was my refuge, the one thing that had always come naturally. Growing up with Grandma Rose, we'd sing together while doing dishes, her voice warm and encouraging as mine grew stronger. "You have a gift, sweetheart," she'd always said. "Don't waste it." When I entered the campus singing competition and won first place, Lily's mask finally slipped. "It's just some amateur contest," she snapped, eyeing my trophy with barely concealed jealousy. My mother knows actual talent when she sees it. But I saw how her hands clenched when the other girls congratulated me, how her smile became more strained each time someone mentioned my performance. The $1,000 prize meant I could buy Grandma Rose the orthopedic shoes she needed, maybe even treat her to her favorite restaurant. For Lily, $1,000 was pocket change. But what I had the ability to create something beautiful with my voice was priceless, and she knew it. The commotion outside our dorm could have woken the dead. "Oh my God, is that really her? Stella Rose is here." Actually, here. I pressed against the balcony railing with everyone else, my heart hammering. A sleek black car sat in the circle drive, and through the tinted windows, I could make out the silhouette of my childhood idol. Stella Rose. The woman whose voice had carried me through lonely nights, whose songs I'd sung to myself in the mirror, dreaming of spotlights and stages. Come on. Sarah grabbed my arm. We have to go see her. I needed no encouragement. I practically flew down the stairs, pushing through the crowd of students with their phones out, all trying to catch a glimpse of royalty. When Stella emerged from the car, she was even more stunning in person. Mid-40s and radiant, with that effortless elegance that made her seem to glow. Her dark hair caught the afternoon light, and when she smiled at the crowd, I felt my breath catch. Then her eyes met mine, and the world stopped. For a heartbeat, her composed expression cracked. Her smile faltered, and something raw and vulnerable flickered across her face. Surprise, recognition, something deeper I couldn't name. She looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. Lily! Sarah called out, breaking the spell. Lily appeared at her mother's side, and after a whispered conversation, came over to us with obvious reluctance. My mom wants to invite you all to dinner, she announced, though she looked like she'd rather eat glass. The invitation felt surreal. Dinner with Stella Rose? My hands were shaking as we climbed into the luxury car, surrounded by leather and the faint scent of expensive perfume. I tried to make myself invisible in the back corner, but I kept catching Stella watching me in the rearview mirror, her expression thoughtful and strangely tender. The restaurant was the kind of place where they didn't list prices on the menu, and the waitstaff moved like dancers. I felt completely out of my element, but Stella put us all at ease with her genuine warmth. So you're Lily's roommates, she said, studying each of us with intelligent eyes. I hope she's not too much trouble. She can be. Particular. Mom, Lily protested, but there was affection in her voice. When Stella's attention turned to me, I felt pinned by her gaze. What's your name, sweetheart? Emma, I managed, my voice barely above a whisper. Emma. She repeated it like she was tasting the word. It suits you. You and Lily really do look remarkably similar, like family. The comment made Lily tense beside me, but I barely noticed. There was something in Stella's voice, a quality that made me think of half-remembered lullabies and gentle hands smoothing my hair. Do you have any food allergies? Stella asked, menu in hand. Just peanuts, I admitted, feeling awkward about having restrictions at such an expensive place. Stella's hand stilled on her water glass. Peanuts? Since I was little. They make me break out in hives and my throat closes up. I ended up in the emergency room once when I was 5 because I stopped, realizing I was oversharing. But Stella was staring at me with an expression I couldn't read. I have the same allergy, she said quietly. Exactly the same reaction. The coincidence felt strange, almost meaningful. Lily looked between us with something like suspicion. How old are you, Emma? Stella asked suddenly. 20. Same as Lily. Something shifted in Stella's expression. She opened her mouth as if to ask another question, then seemed to catch herself. Mom, can we order? I'm starving, Lily interjected, clearly tired of the attention being focused elsewhere. But throughout dinner, I felt Stella's eyes on me, studying my face like she was memorizing it. When she dropped us off at the dorm, she caught my hand briefly. You're welcome at our home anytime, she said, and her voice was soft, almost maternal. I mean that. That night, Lily's passive-aggressive comments reached a new low. My mom only paid attention to you because of the resemblance thing, she said as soon as we were alone. Don't read too much into it. I was too tired to engage, but then my phone rang. The hospital. Miss Chen? You need to come immediately. Your grandmother collapsed. The world tilted. I was out the door before Lily could finish her sentence, running through the night toward the only family I'd ever known. The hospital corridor stretched endlessly under fluorescent lights. I burst through the doors, frantic and terrified, only to stop short at an impossible sight. Stella Rose sat in the waiting area, still in her dinner clothes but with her hair mussed and worry lines creasing her forehead. "Emma?" She stood immediately. "What are you owe?" "The elderly woman I brought in." "She's your grandmother?" I nodded, unable to speak. I was driving home when I saw her collapse at the crosswalk. She looked so frail, so alone. Stella's voice was gentle. I couldn't just leave her. The kindness of it, a stranger stopping to help, broke something open in my chest. "Thank you," I whispered. "Thank you so much." Stella reached out as if to comfort me, then seemed to catch herself. "Is there anyone else? Any other family?" "Just me." The words came out smaller than I intended. It's always been just the two of us. Something passed over Stella's face pain, longing, something that made her look suddenly fragile despite her celebrity poise. "I should go," she said softly. "But Emma? If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to call." She pressed a card into my hand, and for a moment, her fingers lingered over mine. Then she was gone, leaving me alone with the sterile smell of disinfectant and the weight of an uncertain future. Advanced gastric cancer. The words hit like a physical blow. I stared at the doctor. Sure, I'd misheard. The good news is, we caught it early enough that treatment is possible. Chemotherapy followed by surgery, then additional chemo. The success rate is encouraging. "How much?" The question came out as a croak. "The full treatment protocol will run between $80,000 and $90,000. That's with insurance covering the basic hospitalization. $90,000 might as well have been $9 million. I was a scholarship student who counted every dollar, who worked 3 part-time jobs just to afford textbooks. I sat with Grandma Rose as she slept, holding her paper-thin hand and trying not to fall apart. She'd raised me with nothing but love and sacrifice, working 2 jobs to put food on the table, saving every penny for my education. Now, I couldn't even save her. That's when I thought of Lily Montgomery, with her casual wealth and designer accessories. The idea of asking her for money made my stomach churn, but what choice did I have? "I need to borrow some money," I said when she answered my call. The pause stretched long enough that I wondered if she'd hung up. "How much?" she asked finally. $90,000. Jesus, Emma. What did you do? Join the mob? My grandmother is sick. She needs surgery. Another pause. Then I'll give you $200,000. My heart stopped. What? But I want something in return. You know the school singing competition? The one you won last time? I'd registered for the larger, university-wide competition after my campus success. The winner would get a recording contract and national recognition. I want you to withdraw, Lily continued. And I want you to sing for me from backstage while I lip-sync. The proposal was so outrageous it took me a moment to process it. You want me to help you cheat? I want you to help me win. $200,000, Emma. That's enough for your grandmother's treatment, plus extra for whatever comes after. I closed my eyes. My principles versus Grandma Rose's life. It wasn't even a contest. Okay, I whispered. Smart girl. I'll transfer the money tonight. The next few weeks blurred together Grandma's treatment, my classes, and the sick feeling in my stomach every time I thought about what I was doing. The competition rounds went smoothly. Hidden behind curtains and sound equipment, I sang while Lily moved her lips on stage. My voice, her face, her glory. Lily Montgomery is incredible. The campus buzzed with praise after each performance. She's going to be even bigger than her mother. I should have felt proud. Instead, I felt hollow. Grandma Rose was responding well to treatment, her color improving with each visit. The money had bought her the best care, private rooms, specialists who actually had time to explain her prognosis. "Tell me about your competition, sweetheart," she said during one visit, her voice stronger than it had been in weeks. "I want to hear everything." I lied smoothly, describing performances I'd given in shadow while Lily took the bows. Grandma's eyes shone with pride, and each word of encouragement felt like a knife in my chest. "I'm so proud of you for following your dreams," she whispered, squeezing my hand. "Music is your gift, Emma. Don't ever let anyone take that away from you." If only she knew I'd already given it away. The finals were announced with great fanfare. The judges would include industry professionals, talent scouts, and one special guest, Stella Rose. When I saw her name on the poster, I nearly threw up. The night of the finals, I stood in my usual spot behind the stage curtain, microphone in hand, watching Lily prepare for her moment of triumph. She looked radiant in a shimmering gold dress that caught the stage lights like captured starlight. Through a gap in the curtain, I could see Stella at the judges' table, elegant and professional in a tailored black suit. She was talking to the other judges, probably discussing what to look for in the performances. "Ready?" Lily appeared beside me, her face flushed with excitement and nerves. I nodded, though my stomach was churning. This was it, the final deception. After tonight, I could put this whole shameful episode behind me. The announcer called Lily's name, and she strutted onto the stage with the confidence of someone born to perform. The audience erupted in applause. In the wings, I lifted my microphone and prepared to sing. But something was wrong. As Lily opened her mouth to begin lip-syncing, I saw Stella's expression change. Her eyebrows drew together, and she leaned forward in her chair, studying Lily intently. I sang anyway, pouring everything I had into the performance, all my love for music, my gratitude for Grandma Rose's recovery, my guilt over what I was doing. The song soared, but it was Lily who basked in the applause. When the performance ended, instead of the usual bright smile from the judges, I saw Stella's face set in hard lines. She knew. Lily hurried off stage, her face pale despite her stage makeup. "We need to leave." "Now," she hissed, grabbing my arm. But we were too late. Stella Rose stood blocking our exit, her expression thunderous. "Going somewhere, ladies?" In the judge's private room, the air was thick with tension. Stella paced in front of us like a disappointed parent, while Lily and I sat in chairs that felt like the defendant's dock. "Did you really think I wouldn't notice?" Stella's voice was controlled but deadly quiet. "I've been in this industry for over 20 years, Lily. I know lip-syncing when I see it." Lily opened her mouth to protest, but Stella held up a hand. "And you." She turned to me, her eyes blazing. "I assume you're the real voice behind that performance?" I could barely nod. "Do you have any idea what you've done? This isn't just cheating, it's fraud. You could both be expelled. Your futures could be destroyed." The weight of my actions crashed down on me. In trying to save Grandma Rose, had I ruined everything else? "But mostly," Stella continued, her voice breaking slightly, "I'm heartbroken that you felt you couldn't trust me with the truth." She was looking at me now, and there was something in her expression that went beyond disappointment in a cheating student. "I don't understand," I whispered. Stella reached into her purse and pulled out a small silver pendant identical to the one hanging around my neck beneath my shirt. "This was taken from my daughter 20 years ago," she said quietly. "Along with my daughter herself." The room spun around me. What are you saying?" "Show me your necklace, Emma." With trembling fingers, I pulled the pendant from beneath my shirt. Stella's sharp intake of breath was audible across the room. "Oh my God," Lily breathed from beside me. "Mom, you can't be serious." But Stella was already moving, pulling me into her arms with a desperation that spoke of 20 years of searching, of hoping, of never giving up. "My Emma," she whispered against my hair. My baby girl. I knew the moment I saw you that first day. A mother always knows. I stood frozen in her embrace, my mind reeling. This couldn't be real. This was the stuff of movies and fairy tales, not real life. I don't understand, I managed. Grandma Rose found me. She said, "Your grandmother saved you," Stella said, pulling back to look at me with eyes full of tears. "You were kidnapped when you were 6 months old." We never stopped looking, never stopped hoping. Rose Chen found you and raised you with more love than most children ever know. She gave you the life we couldn't. Lily was staring at us both, her face a mask of shock and something that might have been relief. "So I'm not," she began. "You're still my daughter," Stella said firmly, reaching for Lily's hand. "You always will be." "But Emma?" "Emma is my daughter too. My biological daughter." The world tilted on its axis. Everything I thought I knew about myself, about my place in the world, was crumbling and reforming into something unrecognizable. I was Emma Chen, the orphan girl who worked 3 jobs and sang in shadows. But I was also Emma Rose, daughter of a pop star and a billionaire, sister to the girl I'd been living with all along. As the truth settled over us, I realized our story was just beginning. The silence in Stella's car was deafening as she drove us back to campus. I sat in the passenger seat, a place that had always belonged to Lily, while my supposed sister stared out the back window like a stranger. "We need to tell your father," Stella said quietly, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. "And we need to visit Rose. She deserves to know that we know." My heart clenched. Will she be in trouble? "For not telling you?" "Oh, sweetheart." Stella's voice was thick with emotion. "Rose saved your life. She loved you when we couldn't. How could we be anything but grateful?" But Lily's voice cut through the warmth. "So what happens now? Emma just moves in and takes over my life?" The bitterness in her tone made me flinch. "I don't want to take anything from you," I said, turning to face her. "I never asked for any of this." "Neither did I," she shot back. "Yesterday, I was an only child. Today, I find out my roommate is actually my sister, and she's the one with the talent Mom always wanted me to have." "Lily," Stella started, but Lily was on a roll. "No, it's fine. It's perfect, actually. Now you have the daughter who can actually sing, who won't embarrass you in front of your industry friends." "Stop." Stella pulled over abruptly, turning to face both of us. "I love you both. That hasn't changed, and it never will. But we have 20 years of lost time to navigate, and it's going to be messy. We're all going to say things we don't mean, and feel things we're not proud of." She looked at me with eyes that held both joy and grief. "Emma, you're my daughter, and I will spend the rest of my life making up for the years we lost. But Lily has been my daughter for 20 years. She's not losing that place in my heart, she's sharing it." Lily's composure cracked slightly. "It won't be the same." "No," Stella agreed softly. "It will be different. But different doesn't mean less." Richard Montgomery was waiting for us when we arrived at the family estate, a sprawling Georgian mansion that looked like something from a movie set. He stood in the circular drive, still in his business suit despite the late hour, his expression unreadable. "Dad," Lily called as she got out of the car, and I heard the slight plea in her voice, a need for reassurance that her place in this family was still secure. Richard's arms opened immediately, and Lily practically ran into them. Over her head, his eyes met mine, gray eyes that were startlingly familiar, like looking into a masculine version of my own face. "So you're Emma," he said when Lily finally stepped back. His voice was deep, warm, with none of the corporate coldness I'd expected. "I can see it now, you have my mother's chin." Stubborn as hell, she was. The casual way he claimed me as family made my throat tight. "Mister?" Montgomery, I. Richard, he corrected gently. Or Dad, if you're comfortable with that. Though I understand if you need time. Dad. The word I'd never had occasion to use was suddenly offered freely, like a gift I wasn't sure I deserved. This is surreal, I admitted. Try living it from our end, Richard said with a rueful smile. 20 years of private investigators, false leads, sleepless nights, wondering if you were safe, if you were happy, if you were alive. And then, Stella comes home from a college dinner talking about a girl who looks just like Lily, allergic to peanuts, the same age. You suspected? We hoped, Stella said, joining us. But hope can be dangerous when you've been disappointed so many times. Richard studied my face with the intensity of someone memorizing a map. You look like both of us, he said finally. Stella's eyes, my jawline, your grandmother Rose's smile. My grandmother. The reminder hit me like a physical blow. I need to see her. She must be so confused, so worried. Of course, Richard said immediately. Whatever, she needs the best doctors, private care, anything. She's already getting excellent care, I said quietly. Lily's money, your money made that possible. An uncomfortable silence fell. The fact that I'd essentially been paid to help Lily cheat hung between us like a toxic cloud. About that, Stella said carefully. The competition, I'll withdraw, I said quickly. I'll confess to the cheating. Take responsibility. Absolutely not. Richard's voice was sharp. Lily made the choice to cheat. You made the choice to help someone you thought was a stranger, to save your grandmother's life. The situations aren't comparable. Lily flinched. So I'm the villain in this story? You're a young woman who made a mistake, Stella said firmly. A mistake we're all going to learn from. The next morning, I sat by Grandma Rose's hospital bed, trying to find the words to explain what had happened. She looked so much better. The treatment was working. Color had returned to her cheeks, and her eyes were bright with curiosity as she studied my face. You look different, sweetheart, she said, reaching for my hand. Lighter, somehow. Like a weight's been lifted. Grandma. I began, then stopped. How do you tell someone that the child they raised, the family they built, was about to expand in ways they never could have imagined, is less than #0. 6# is greater than I met my birth parents yesterday. Her hand stilled in mine, but her expression remained calm. Ah, she said simply. I wondered when this day would come. You're not surprised? Oh, my dear girl. Her laugh was soft and knowing. I've been preparing for this conversation for 20 years. I always knew your real family would find you eventually. You're my real family, I said fiercely. Nothing changes that. No, she agreed, squeezing my fingers. Nothing changes that. But now you have more family to love you, and that's only a blessing. The door opened, and Stella stepped in hesitantly. She'd dressed simply jeans and a soft sweater, and she looked younger, more vulnerable than I'd ever seen her. Mrs. Chen, she said quietly. May I come in? Grandma Rose studied her for a long moment, then nodded toward the chair beside the bed. You must be Stella Rose. I am. Stella sat carefully, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. I came to thank you. Thank me? For loving her, Stella's voice broke slightly. For raising her to be kind and strong and talented. For giving her everything Richard and I couldn't. Grandma Rose was quiet for a long moment. Then she was always meant to be yours. I just kept her safe until you could find each other. I watched these two women, the one who had raised me, the one who had given me life, and felt something shift in my chest. This wasn't about choosing sides or divided loyalties. This was about love multiplying, not dividing. I have something for you, Grandma Rose said to Stella, reaching for the small cloth bag she kept by her bedside. From it, she pulled out a tiny pink hospital bracelet, faded and worn. "This was on her wrist when I found her," she said, handing it to Stella. Emma Rose Montgomery. Born March 15th, 6 pounds, 3 ounces. Stella took the bracelet with shaking hands, tears streaming down her face. "We thought it was lost forever," she whispered. "They took everything when they took her." "Not everything," Grandma Rose said gently. "They never took who she was meant to be." Returning to campus felt like entering an alternate universe. Word had somehow leaked about my connection to the Montgomery family, and suddenly, everyone wanted to be my friend. "Emma, we were just talking about you." Jessica practically launched herself at me as I entered the dorm room. "Is it true? Are you really Stella Rose's daughter?" "It's complicated," I said carefully. "This is incredible. You're like actual royalty now." Sarah bounced on her bed with excitement. "Are you moving out? Are you transferring to a better school?" Their sudden interest felt hollow after years of casual dismissal. Where were these friendly smiles when I was working 3 jobs to afford textbooks? Lily, meanwhile, had become a ghost. She attended classes, ate meals, and slept in the same room, but she might as well have been on another planet. The few times our eyes met, she looked away quickly. The singing competition fallout had been handled quietly. Stella and Richard's influence meant no public scandal, but I'd still withdrawn from the finals and returned the prize money. The recording contract opportunity was gone, but somehow that felt like the least important thing in the world now. "Emma?" A voice behind me made me turn. A tall young man with dark hair and kind eyes stood in the hallway, looking slightly nervous. "I'm Marcus Webb. I was supposed to compete in the finals." I recognized him. He'd placed second in the semifinals, right behind Lily's performance. "I heard what happened," he continued. "About the situation." I tensed, waiting for judgment or anger about the cheating. "Instead," he said, "I wanted you to know that I heard you sing at the campus competition. You were incredible. And what you did sacrificing your chance to help your family, that takes real character." The unexpected kindness made my eyes prickle. "Thank you. I was wondering, there's a coffee shop downtown that has open mic nights on Fridays. Just local musicians, nothing fancy. Would you maybe want to come sing? For yourself this time?" Something warm unfurled in my chest. "I'd like that." As he walked away, I caught Lily watching from the end of the hallway. For a moment, her expression was unguarded, hurt, lonely, maybe even a little envious of the easy way Marcus had approached me. I took a step toward her, but she turned and disappeared into the stairwell. The Montgomery house felt like a museum the first few times I visited, beautiful, expensive, and utterly foreign. But slowly, it began to feel like something else, a possibility. Richard had converted his study into a temporary bedroom for me, complete with a new desk, comfortable bed, and walls lined with books. "Just until you decide what you want to do," he said. No pressure. Stella had been more cautious, giving me space while clearly wanting to make up for lost time. She'd leave little gifts, sheet music for songs she thought I'd like, books of poetry, a beautiful leather journal. "I don't want to overwhelm you," she said one evening as we sat in her music room, surrounded by gold records and Grammy awards. "But I keep thinking of all the birthdays I missed, all the bedtime stories I never got to read." "Tell me about the day I was taken," I said suddenly. Her face went pale, but she nodded. "You were 6 months old. We were at the park, Richard was at work, and I thought some fresh air would be good for both of us." I turned away for just a moment to answer my phone. Her voice broke. "When I turned back, your stroller was empty." The pain in her voice was raw, 20 years old but still fresh. "They found the stroller 3 blocks away, but no trace of you. The police said it was likely someone who wanted a baby, someone who would love you and care for you. She looked at me with eyes full of gratitude and grief. They were right about that. Do you know who took me? A woman named Carol Pierce. She was arrested 2 years later for another kidnapping, but she never told us what happened to you. She died in prison 5 years ago. I absorbed this, trying to imagine the desperation that would drive someone to steal a baby. I'm sorry, I said finally. For what? For not being there. For all the years you lost, the worry you went through. Stella crossed the room and pulled me into a fierce hug. Never apologize for surviving, for being loved, for becoming the incredible young woman you are. Rose Chen gave me the most precious gift possible. She gave me you, whole and healthy and happy. That night, I called Grandma Rose from my temporary bedroom. How are you adjusting, sweetheart? She asked. It's strange, I admitted. They're wonderful, but I feel like I'm betraying you somehow by accepting their love. Oh, my dear girl. Love isn't finite. The more people who love you, the richer your life becomes. You're not losing me by gaining them. But what if they want me to be someone I'm not? Someone like Lily? Then you remind them that they didn't find Lily, Grandma Rose said firmly. They found Emma. And Emma is exactly who she's supposed to be. The breakthrough with Lily came unexpectedly. I found her crying in the campus library, hidden behind stacks of music theory books she'd clearly been struggling with. Lily? I approached carefully, as if she might flee. She wiped her eyes quickly, trying to hide the tears. What do you want? To understand, I said honestly, sliding into the chair across from her. You're angry, and you have every right to be. Your whole world got turned upside down too. Do I? Her laugh was bitter. Because everyone keeps telling me how lucky I am to have a sister, how happy I should be for you. Are you not happy for me? She was quiet for a long moment. I am, she said finally. And I hate that I am, because I'm also jealous and scared and confused. Scared of what? That I'm not enough anymore. The words came out in a rush. That now that they have you, their real daughter, the one who can actually sing, they'll realize I'm just the consolation prize they settled for. The vulnerability in her voice broke my heart. Lily, that's not, isn't it? She gestured to the music books. Look at this. I've been trying for 20 years to be musical, to connect with Mom's world, and I can't even read basic notation. But you? You hear a song once and you own it. I stared at her, understanding dawning. Is that why you wanted to win the competition so badly? To prove you belonged in the music world is less than #0. 6# is greater than. She nodded miserably. Stupid, right? Not stupid. Heartbreaking. I reached across the table and took her hand. She didn't pull away. Lily, you don't need to sing to be Stella's daughter. She doesn't love me because I can carry a tune. She loves me because I'm hers. Just like she loves you because you're hers. But you're her biological daughter, and you're the daughter she chose to raise for 20 years. The one she sang lullabies to, the one she nursed through fevers, the one she worried about on first dates. Biology doesn't trump 20 years of love. Lily's tears started fresh, but they seemed cleaner somehow. I'm sorry, she whispered. For the way I treated you, for putting you in an impossible position with the competition. I was so jealous of your talent that I wanted to steal it, to make it mine somehow. I'm sorry too, I said. For lying, for going along with the deception. We both made mistakes. She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes that were so like my own. So what now? Now we figure out how to be sisters, I said. The real kind, not just the DNA kind. For the first time since I'd known her, Lily's smile was completely genuine. I'd like that. Friday evening found me standing outside Caf Luna, a cozy coffee shop with mismatched furniture and walls covered in local artwork. Through the windows, I could see a small crowd gathered around a makeshift stage, and my palms were sweating despite the cool air. "You came," Marcus said, appearing beside me with a warm smile. "I wasn't sure you would." "Neither was I admitted. Having second thoughts? I considered this. For months, I'd been singing in shadows, lending my voice to someone else's dreams. The idea of standing in the light, of owning my own performance, was terrifying and exhilarating. "No," I said, surprised by the strength in my own voice. "I'm ready." The caf was warm and welcoming, filled with the scent of coffee and the gentle murmur of conversation. Marcus introduced me to other local musicians, college students, young professionals, a few older folks who'd been coming to open mic night for years. "What do you want to sing?" asked Janet, the caf owner who organized the evening. I'd been thinking about this all week. "Something original," I said. "A song I wrote for someone special." When my turn came, I walked to the small stage on unsteady legs. The lights weren't bright, just a few spots and the warm glow from the caf's vintage fixtures, but they felt like spotlights nonetheless. I adjusted the microphone and looked out at the small crowd. In the back, I was surprised to see a familiar figure slip through the door. Lily, still in her evening clothes from some campus event, looking uncertain but determined. Our eyes met across the room, and she gave me a small nod of encouragement. "This is a song I wrote for my grandmother," I said into the microphone, my voice steadying as I found my purpose. "She taught me that love doesn't divide. When you share it, it multiplies." The melody that came from my guitar was simple, the lyrics honest and raw. She found me broken, barely breathing, wrapped me in her gentle hands, taught me that a family isn't blood, it's who stands by you when you can't stand. As I sang, I felt something I'd never experienced before, complete authenticity. This was my voice, my story, my truth. No shadows, no deception, just me and the music that had always been my sanctuary. When the song ended, the applause was warm and genuine. I saw tears in a few eyes, including Lily's, and felt a rush of connection with these strangers who had listened to my heart. "That was beautiful," Marcus said as I rejoined him at our table. "You should record that." "Maybe someday," I said, but for the first time, the idea didn't seem impossible. Lily appeared at our table, still slightly breathless from hurrying across campus. "That was..." she started, then stopped, searching for words. "That was exactly who you're supposed to be." The simple acceptance in her voice meant more than any standing ovation could have. 3 months later, I stood in the same hospital room where this whole journey had begun, but everything had changed. Grandma Rose was sitting up in bed, her color healthy and her eyes bright. The surgery had been successful, and her recovery was ahead of schedule. "Look at you," she said, beaming as I entered with a huge bouquet of her favorite flowers, sunflowers from Richard and Stella's garden. "Look at me, what?" "Happy," she said simply. "Complete." Behind me, voices filled the corridor, Lily arguing with Richard about her spring break plans, Stella humming as she carried a thermos of Grandma Rose's favorite soup. My family. All of them. "The whole crew is here today, I see," Grandma Rose observed with amusement. "Richard wanted to discuss discharge plans with your doctor," I explained. "And Stella brought enough food to feed the entire hospital floor." "And Lily?" I smiled. "Lily wanted to hear you tell the story about finding me again. She's been asking everyone for their version of events, trying to piece together the whole picture." "She's a good girl," Grandma Rose said thoughtfully. "Wounded but healing. Just like you." Stella poked her head into the room. "Mrs. Chen? The doctor says you're clear for discharge tomorrow if you're feeling up to it." "More than ready," Grandma Rose replied. "Though I understand I'm not going back to my little apartment." This had been a source of gentle conflict for weeks. Richard and Stella had insisted on moving Grandma Rose to a comfortable senior living community near their home, the kind with full medical facilities and gourmet meals. She'd protested the expense, but I could see she was secretly delighted by the idea of having neighbors and activities. "The cottage is ready for you," Stella said warmly. "Independent living, but with help available if you need it. And close enough for Emma to visit whenever she wants." Which would be often, since I'd made my decision about living arrangements. Instead of moving into the Montgomery mansion full-time, I'd chosen to split my time weekends and holidays with Richard and Stella, weekdays at the dorm with Lily. It wasn't conventional, but nothing about our situation was conventional. "And the scholarship?" Grandma Rose asked. "Still mine," I assured her. "Richard wanted to pay for everything, but I need to earn some of it myself. Though he did set up a trust fund for graduate school, if I decide to go." "Which you will," Lily said, entering the room with Richard close behind. "Because Marcus Webb has been talking nonstop about that music therapy program at Northwestern, and I see the way your eyes light up when he mentions it." I felt my cheeks warm. Marcus and I had been spending more time together studying, talking about music, attending more open mic nights. He was kind and genuine, and he saw me as Emma, not as Stella Rose's daughter or Richard Montgomery's heir. "Marcus is a friend," I said primly. "Uh-huh," Lily grinned. "A friend who brings you coffee every morning and knows all your favorite songs." "Leave your sister alone," Richard intervened, but he was smiling too. "Though I do like the boy. Good head on his shoulders." The easy way he claimed me as family still made my heart skip. 3 months in, and I was still adjusting to having a father, to being someone's daughter, instead of just someone's granddaughter. "Doctor Martinez says Mrs. Chen is doing remarkably well," Richard continued. "Complete recovery expected within 6 months." Relief flooded through me, even though I'd heard this update several times. Each clean scan, each positive report, felt like a miracle. "So what now?" Stella asked, settling into the chair beside Grandma Rose's bed. "Emma finishes school, Lily stops trying to set her up with every boy on campus, and we all live happily ever after?" "That's the plan," I said, but I was looking at all of them, the grandmother who had saved me, the parents who had never stopped searching, the sister who had become my closest friend. "Actually," Lily said, pulling out her phone with a mischievous grin, "I have a surprise." She connected to the room's Bluetooth speaker, and suddenly my voice filled the space, the recording from open mic night, the song I'd written for Grandma Rose. "Marcus recorded it," she explained. "And I may have sent it to a few people." "Lily, what did you do?" I asked, though her excitement was infectious. "Someone from Mom's label heard it. They want to meet with you." The room went silent. Stella's eyes were wide, Richard looked proud, and Grandma Rose was beaming. "I'm not ready for that," I said quickly. "Not now," Lily agreed. "But maybe someday. And when you are ready, we'll all be here to support you." Looking around the room at these faces, some familiar for 20 years, others new but already dear, I felt something I'd never experienced before, complete belonging. I was Emma Chen, raised with love and sacrifice by a woman who chose to be my grandmother. I was Emma Rose Montgomery, daughter of parents who never stopped believing they'd find me. I was Emma, Lily's sister, Marcus's friend, a music therapy student with dreams of healing others, the way music had healed me. I was all of these things at once, and for the first time in my life, that felt like enough. As we prepared to leave the hospital, Grandma Rose finally coming home to a family that had expanded to hold all of us, I caught my reflection in the window. The girl looking back at me had my grandmother's gentle smile, my mother's determined eyes, and my father's stubborn chin. But most importantly, she looked happy. She looked whole. She looked like herself. Epilogue. 2 years later. The Northwestern Auditorium was packed as I walked across the stage to receive my diploma. In the audience, I could see my entire family cheering Grandma Rose in the front row with her new friends from the senior community, Richard and Stella beaming with pride, Lily whooping loudly enough to embarrass us all, and Marcus holding a bouquet of sunflowers and looking at me like I was the most amazing thing he'd ever seen. My degree was in music therapy, and I'd already been accepted into the graduate program. But tonight was about celebrating how far we'd all come. After the ceremony, we gathered at the Montgomery house for dinner. The formal dining room had been transformed into something warmer, more welcoming, filled with laughter and the kind of chaos that comes from a big, complicated, loving family. "A toast," Richard said, raising his glass as dessert was served. To Emma, who reminded us all that family isn't just about biology, it's about choosing to love each other, day after day, even when it's messy and complicated and hard. "To Emma," everyone echoed, and I felt that familiar warmth spread through my chest. Later, as guests were leaving and dishes were being cleared, Stella found me on the back patio, looking up at the stars. "Penny, for your thoughts?" she asked, settling beside me on the swing. "Just thinking about how different everything is now," I said. 2 years ago, I was so angry about having to sing in someone else's shadow. Now I realize I was never in the shadows at all. I was just waiting for the right spotlight. "And now?" I smiled, thinking about my internship at the children's hospital, about the kids who lit up when we had music therapy sessions, about the way Marcus's face changed when he talked about opening our own practice someday. Now I know exactly where I belong. As if summoned by my thoughts, Marcus appeared in the doorway, his tie loosened and his hair slightly mussed from playing with Lily's friend's toddler. "Ready to go?" he asked, and something in his voice made me look at him more carefully. "Actually," he continued, his voice suddenly nervous, "there's something I wanted to ask you first." He dropped to one knee right there on the patio, pulling out a small velvet box, and my heart stopped. "Emma Rose Chen Montgomery," he said, using the name I'd legally adopted a combination of all my identities. "You are the most incredible woman I've ever known. You've taught me that love multiplies instead of divides, that family is about choice as much as chance, and that the most beautiful music comes from the most authentic places." Behind us, I heard the patio door crack open and quickly close, probably half my family trying to spy on us. "Will you marry me?" Marcus asked, his eyes hopeful and terrified and perfect. "Yes," I whispered, then louder, "Yes, of course, yes." As he slipped the ring onto my finger, I heard cheers erupting from inside the house, definitely the whole family spying on us. But I didn't care. Let them watch, let them celebrate, let them be part of every moment of joy in my life. Because that's what families do. They show up, they witness, they choose to love you through every chapter of your story. And this was just the beginning of the best chapter yet. The end.